What's up, fight fans? This is Adam Chris from MyMMAnews.com. With the worldwide pandemic going on in COVID-19, everybody's going through it in some way, shape, or form, and fighters are no different. With the world of sports essentially canceled for the season or on hold, the fighters are not guaranteed or have no certainty when they're going to compete next, which more times than not results in a loss of income. We caught up with the Ring of Combat welterweight Lenny the Gorlilla Rufati to see what he's doing during this pandemic, how he's staying positive in this pandemic, and we even chopped it up a little bit about Netflix hit documentary Tiger King. Let's keep it locked.
But it's a pleasure to have him on. Lenny, it's been a while, man. How are you, brother?
I'm good, brother. Considering the circumstance, I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm free, I'm okay. I'm hanging in there, just like I hope everyone else is.
And that's all we can really for right now, right? It's just everybody doing well, everybody doing their part, and just staying inside and looking out for one another. And speaking of staying inside, what have you been up to, bro? I mean, what's been going on in Lenny's life?
Well, just like everyone else, my world turned upside down. I used to wake up 10 a.m. Because I work night shifts. So I wake up 10 a.m., get to the gym by 11 here at Rufus Sport in Milwaukee, one of the, obviously, as you know, one of the best gyms in the world. I would train there from 11 a.m. all the way up until about 3 p.m., and then I'd go to work at 4, and I'd be home at midnight. And I had a great day that was just jam-packed, busy. Now I have no job, no gym. I wake up, I look at the ceiling a little bit, contemplate life, and then go to sleep at night.
Have you learned anything, now that you've just talked about it, looking at the ceiling, reflecting on life, just a little bit of taking time and slowing down? Have you started to notice or learn anything else that you might not have gotten a chance because you've been on go, go, go for the past couple of years?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I was just saying to you before we started this recording. Yeah, man, I've had 16 MMA fights in 3 years span with only 1 year prior of just training for it. No background. I didn't grow up wrestling or boxing or none of that. So yeah, I've been very busy. I've always had some sort of injury. I've always been dieting, and I mean, in a way, it kind of feels good, like you said, to reflect on the past and just in life in general. Let some injuries heal up. Also, I got to just make phone calls like this with friends that I grew up with. That life has gotten in the way, training's gotten in the way, work. And now I'm happy to say hello again to my friends that I grew up with in Jersey and New York, my cousins in New York, and even my family members in Macedonia. It's just, at times like these, even my good friend Brad Dalton, the owner and CEO of Stellar Fights, said that times like these is a good time to reflect with your family, man. Family and friends is very important to keep your sanity.
Yeah, and we'll keep it on Stellar Fights as of right now. You brought it up, Brad Dalton, great guy. Doing big things for Delaware MMA with Stellar Fights.
The only promotion in the state of Delaware for MMA is Brad Dalton's Stellar Fights.
Yeah, and as far as my MMA news goes, I do the post-cage interviews. Bob Maloney does the in-ring announcing, so it's all like intertwined in the circle. And obviously, you being a stellar bantamweight, Brad, was that your last fight, right? So the sport stays strong in this region. You know what I mean? And I love that about this regional circuit. What was that like, seeing like the old promoter from the amateur days that kind of brought you back into this pro atmosphere? And
sure, dude, I was honored. He brought 10 people. He knows how it is and how difficult it is to get ticket sales and all that. He bought 10 tickets from me. Brought his friends. Brought a crew. Dude, it was a great time. I felt like after I won the fight via finish, and then I seen Brad. He came up to me, gave me a hug. I'm like, man, this reminds me of the time when he put the belt around my waist. When I went 5-0, and I went 6-0 with 3 knockouts on his show, dude. At one point, and it was one of some of the best nights of my life I shared with Brad Dalton. Seriously, I'll never forget those days. You can tell he genuinely cares about the fighters and their careers. He loved just talking to us after the show was over. We'd be up all night at the casino just chatting about who we're gonna fight next. What direction he wants his show to go. And you can tell the guy's very passionate about regional MMA and MMA in general. And I appreciate people like that very much.
And it shows like that put you on the platform where you are right now, bring that UFC Fight Pass. And so, and like you said, you were coming off the amazing stoppage. And then that was just a couple weeks ago in the transitioning into March. And then bam. The world stops. And I mean, again, I'm not trying to be down on anything like that because we had a good vibe going. But coming off such a positive vibe like that, what was it like to have things like, man, I'm on top of the world right now? You had your job going on, your full-time job, and then it's just this COVID thing started to become a little bit, more of a severity until it started reaching the U.S. and then bam, it hit like a ton of bricks. What was that for you, man?
Well, first, like everyone else, all right, maybe a little shock, a little denial. Okay, this is just for a couple days, and it's like, holy shit, this is real. This is happening. Let's stop complaining and let's just be grateful at this point because there's people dying out there. Like I was saying, I would train all day and then work at night. I had an awesome boss I met here in Milwaukee. He trains at the gym I go to, and he sponsored me for my fight. He worked my schedule so that I can train full time with the pro fighters. Life was great. I had money saving up. I was working. I was training. I was living my dream, man. Mm-hmm. And then this happens, and I know a lot of people have had it worse. Yeah, so I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you what happened. Life was good. I was managing a restaurant in Milwaukee. We were doing great. People loved seeing me because they knew I fight because they see my ears. So all the UWM, University of Wisconsin kids, they would come in, like, holy shit, there he is. There's the Gorilla pizza maker. It was awesome. Yeah, I had to diet while making pizzas. It's very a lot of comedy involved and a lot of frustration too. But at the end of the day, it was all worth it. And I can't wait to go back to that lifestyle. As soon as Lord willing, things get back to normal, obviously.
And everybody's going to have to do their part. Obviously, you're doing your part, staying inside, and you're still getting your training in when you can. Tell us what you're doing, man, because everybody seems to have their way, and no fighter seems to be having any excuse to get their work done. What are you doing at home, man?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm lucky. Me and my girlfriend live together. She was an amateur boxing champion, and now she's transitioning to MMA. She did a jiu-jitsu tournament. She did excellent. So basically, we got some jiu-jitsu mats here, and we just been rolling pretty much every day, grappling, jiu-jitsu, just light sparring on the ground, because it's better than, I'm lucky to have her, and vice versa. It's better than nothing. We will go out for long walks. We'll try to run, like I was saying, obviously I haven't been strict dieting or anything because there's just no need. There's already all this pressure with stuff going on. It's like I might as well enjoy myself. It's not like we have any fight dates coming up or anything like that.
Right. Now, did you have anything coming up? Like, did you have any plans as far as fights and that happened to fall through? Can you tell me about that?
So my first 6 pro fights, which I've done very well at Ring of Combat, they were awesome. The next one was going to be end of May. Obviously, that's not going to happen anymore, I don't think. April 11th, I was actually going to go in great state of Maryland, where MMA started for me. When I started training MMA in Northern Maryland with Method MMA, very good people. And that's where we went 6-0 and in 8 months of fighting, with 3 knockouts, where our hookup because there was no amateur MMA in Maryland, so we went over to Brad Dalton's show in Delaware, right over the border there, and I was supposed to fight for John Rollo's campaign. What was the name? Oh boy, I'm drawing a blank here. But it was in Baltimore. It's the only pro show there.
Shogun?
I can't think of the name. Shogun. There it is. So Shogun Fights. Yeah, Shogun Fights, the premier and only league in the state of Maryland. And they're awesome. I was going to be there. My very first MMA event was Shogun. And, I remember watching my buds, my training partners fighting there. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And my very first time going to a live cage fight was back in, 2016 when I went to go watch. I'm like, man, I got to try this. Obviously, I couldn't go right to Shogun because I was pro. So I did amateur, a handful of fights for Brad Dalton, like we're talking. And now I've been doing a great Ring of Combat on UFC Fight Pass. I didn't want to wait 3 whole months until the end of May to fight again because, as you saw, my fight was pretty much a flawless victory. He didn't hurt me at all. I grabbed him, took him down, trapped his arm, and then just pounded his head in until the ref pulled me off. So I said, well, shoot, no damage taken there. Let me do a quick turnaround month and a half later. Let me go do Baltimore Shogun, and then I'll do end of May in, Lord willing, as long as I was healthy, do end of May in New Jersey. But obviously all that's been put under the rug right now.
So when all of this is said and done, what are you hoping to do as far as getting back into the ring? Are you looking to what organization are you looking to get back in to put your name back on the map? Because you were doing so well. So, I mean, obviously you want to get back to where you left off. Where are you looking to get?
Yeah. No, obviously I'm hoping. I already know their schedule. So, obviously, their Ring of Combat, that's the #1 show, by the way, on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Besides Bellator, UFC, Ring of Combat is the #1 show, the oldest show for regional MMA, and they've sent so many guys to the UFC, so many guys, including a few champions. So, and they're on UFC Fight Pass. I'd be crazy not to go back there. And it's about 45, 50 minutes where I went to high school. I grew up. So, Atlantic City, New Jersey. I grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. From when I was 10 years old till about 25. So, that being said, I'd love to go back there and see my friends and family. They all come. I always bring a crowd. I always have great support. And Lou Neglia, Frankie Perez did a great job with that show. And that's where they have a show September and November. So I'm hoping this stuff goes away. I can fight for them in September. That's my plan right now. So I don't have a strict diet until like August.
Right. And up until then, we get, you knew it was coming. We talked about it previously. The biggest talk of the nation, one of the #1 shows, and I've seen you post about it on Facebook and everything. Everybody needs to keep it a little bit lighthearted right now. You know what I mean? Especially in these times. And so everybody's been catching up, watching their Netflix shows. And so Ozark was one of them with me. Obviously, Tiger King was another one for everybody. And I saw
Carol fucking Baskin.
And it's funny, you and I had talked about this, and we were on private message, and then the next day, one of my buddies, James Lynch, for The Score, James Lynch, MMA reporter.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of interviews with a bunch of UFC fighters talking about Tiger King, and I was like, oh man, James Lynch got to it, but I still got my buddy Lenny with me. So I gotta tell you, what is it about Tiger King, man? What got America going crazy about it?
Well, it starts off, all right, there's these, weird guys from the South with this animal loving spirit. And it seemed all right. And then it was at first episode, second episode, was a cute little rivalry between Big Cat Rescue and then these other guys that wanted to like make a zoo out of it. It's like, okay, all right. And then episode 3 hits and then you just jaw drops. The cute, innocent, lovely lady could possibly be a mastermind murderer. That case was never solved. I was like, holy shit. And then she tries, and they try to kill her. Now he's in jail. The dude was married to 2 different men, half his age. What the fuck? It's just nuts. So much going on.
Do you think it was like, do you think it's America being so bored that they'll latch on to anything, and that was just so like out of the left field blue, batshit crazy that it's just you couldn't not watch? Almost as sad as it is to say, like, that slow train that's crashing, you can't help but watch. Like, it's one of those things, like, it just lures you in, and you're like,
exactly,
what's going on? But you can't help but watch. Is that what's going on with the Tiger King, bro?
I think that's exactly what it couldn't have came in at a better time right now. Times are scary, so it's okay to laugh a little, and just see how much worse it can or cannot get, But no, like I said, it's okay to laugh to keep your sanity.
Do you think Netflix planned the timing, man? Like, as far as like, you know what, we have this show, what better time to put it out than right now? I think how it worked out couldn't have played any better, man. It was #1 for weeks.
Oh yeah, and then all the memes online, you can't get away from it. It's awesome.
It's awesome. So, which leads me to ask, what is your top 3 Tiger King moments?
Oh, well, here's one. So, the one worker who I didn't know ended up being not that it matters, but ended up being a transgender. Mm-hmm. The one worker got he or her arm bit off, and then by a tiger. And then the way Exotic Joe went into the gift shop room and said, "Hey guys, just want y'all to know one of my employees got their arm bit off. You can either get a rain check or your money back. Let me know." The way he said it, and then the people was like, he seemed so calm. I'm like, oh my God, that to me was huge. Number 2, the whole thing about episode 3 with fucking Carol fucking Baskin, who seems super angelic, but could have very well have done the perfect crime. A lot of evidence, points towards that. Obviously, I can't say anything for sure, but honestly, if I had to bet my wealth, I would say she's guilty. Yeah, her own husband said, "This bitch is gonna kill me. Do something," and then and a restraining order 2 months prior, and then he goes missing. I mean, come on.
Which was worked into some of the documentation. If my husband goes missing, it's just the red flag. So
yeah. All right, and then and another part, I guess you could say, is where they don't shed too much light on him, but Mario Tribot, or the dude was like a freaking drug kingpin in the 80s, who sentenced to 100 years with the whole, the whole U.S. Cuban cocaine thing, and Scarface, they say, was loosely based on this guy, possibly. Dude was sentenced to 100 years. Obviously, he decides to become an informant and gets out after 12. And now he has a freaking ranch of tigers. Like, go fucking figure. I wonder where he got the money from to afford the ranch of tigers. And everybody know, like, the feds know and they're cool with it. Like, it just boggles my mind. I don't know how they got all these characters in the one documentary. I did not know how freaking tiger owning was crazy like this. And then there's that whole Doc Antle guy who's got like 7 beautiful women girlfriends. Like, and here's this fat guy. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Which I got to go over my top 3 now that I wanted to tell you was how everybody portrayed Doc Antle to be like the ladies' man, right? Like everybody, and Joe Exotic was jealous of how like he was just so luscious with everything, whatever you want to say.
At first it was cool, and then it was like, oh shit.
How about Jeff Lowe, dude? The dude that picks his nannies, and all the interviews he's doing right now with they're sitting on their lap, and they are just 10 out of 10 gorgeous women. He is the one that, I don't understand how people aren't saying, like, this one's the guy that has all the ladies that might be worth bragging home about anyway.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Another one was the dude Eric, the guy with the long blonde hair, and talking about when Doc Antle's girlfriends. Everybody was going over. Remember the scene where they were like, how many girlfriends does Doc Antle have? And everybody was like, oh, I think he has 9 girlfriends. I think he has 5 wives. I think it's... And then the one dude with the long hair, I don't fucking care. Dude, that just came out of nowhere, and I lost it, dude.
I remember that.
Yeah, I don't care attitude. And then towards the end, how he was seemingly strung out in the worst, saddening way, and like petting a pet tiger on the end of his bed. That's the closing of the show. That was sad. And then talking about the worker that got her arm ripped off, unfortunately, obviously. And where did Joe Exotic come out with the bomber jacket? With that, he's a paramedic out of nowhere.
I failed to mention that part.
Is he licensed? What's going on?
He just puts it on.
I wonder if it was for part of the show, is like the lore of like, you know what, if the guests see this, they probably will think like, I'm medically certified, I got a handle on this. That had to be it. Had to be.
Perhaps. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in that man's head, man. It's so crazy. Yeah.
But I've also heard rumors that, well, we talked about this before we started recording, that there's another episode coming, so we'll look forward to that.
Oh man, in the near future, I can't wait. Yeah, you mentioned with Jeff Lowe and that. Yeah, I can't wait. Let's see.
And another aspect of it was apparently Joe Exotic is hearing and he's seeing all the memes, whether they're terrible, derogatory, bad, good, what. Apparently his boyfriend or husband or whatever it is now is taking and showing him all this, and he's loving it, like living on the high, getting everything he wanted from it. Yeah, he
just gets off on attention. He only ran for governor or president. He knew he'd lose, but he only did it to be on the spotlight. So he's one of those guys that gets off. So to him, any media is good media, I guess.
Right. Well, look, man, I want to close it down. What can you tell the fans as far as fight news and as far as the future goes for Lenny Revati, and as far as everybody I've interviewed in the past couple of days? I wanted to close it out with, fans, they want to hear from the fighters and how they can relate to them in these times, because everybody's going through it. Nobody's being left out of this. Everybody's stuck together. Can you give some words of positivity for the fans out there right now, man?
Sure, man. Yeah, look, basically, do what I've been doing, man. Call your friends, call your family you haven't talked to, FaceTime, or just on the phone, old fashioned, like, hey, how you been? Miss you, love you. There's nothing wrong with that, because what else are we going to do? A lot of us don't have jobs or a gym. Like, why not reflect a little bit on your life? And, there's not everybody has to, force themselves to do a side hustle or whatever. We're at record, like, no jobs. It's sad. Don't get too down on yourself that you don't have a job, because what are we going to do? What you can do is maybe do some push-ups, sit-ups, some jailhouse workouts in the house. Maybe go out running. Make sure you keep your social distancing. And that's it. As far as MMA, obviously I'm no expert on this whole virus situation, but what I've been reading on the news on somewhat credible sources, I'm hoping, my plan is welterweight, September, Atlantic City, Ring of Combat. I'm thinking by the summer everything should boil over. Hopefully, Lord willing, things get back to semi-normal in September. I say semi-normal because this is something we're probably never going to forget, but it doesn't have to ruin us,
Right.
But I'm hoping September, Ring of Combat, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Lord willing, let's go. Welterweight.
Hopefully in September, but obviously the fans, if they don't know, let them know how to keep up with Lenny the Gorilla Rufati. Social media, brother, let them know.
Sure. So yeah, I'm Lenny the Gorilla on Instagram, Lenny, the Gorilla, just the word. On Facebook, Lenny Rufati, Rufati, Lenny spelled Lenny. I'm on Facebook and Instagram pretty much every day, just saying hello to friends, family, and people that love MMA or just life in general. There's no need. This is a time to go and speak to people. Just because you're in the house alone doesn't mean you have to be alone. It's okay to call people. It's talking is healthy.
And now's the time to do it, man. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, especially in these times. It was a pleasure, man. From the old days in Jersey, from your first fight back in the day in Voorhees, man, to stellar fights, to you all over in my MMA News with Bob Maloney, and you know what I mean, with Ring of Combat. Dude, you're doing so well, and we obviously support you, and we appreciate you taking the time as always, man. Lenny, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Adam. My MMA News is great. You guys, we can tell you guys love the fighters. Eric Kowali's done a great job with that company, just putting basically regional MMA on the map. We thank you guys as well.
Thank you, brother. There he goes, Lenny, the Gorilla Rufati. Like I said, we were on lockdown, but you know what? We got the best of it done, and we hope everybody else does their part and stays positive in this. And for Lenny Gorilla Rufati, I am Adam Christ. Make sure you keep it locked to my MMAnews.com for all your fight news needs.